Warning, the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Think Different TV, live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted by me, your girl LaShia. Join me as I discuss social topics, spotlight independent artists, and share financial tips. Join the conversation. I want to hear what you have to say. Think Different TV, where minds meet. You're the reason I wake up, the reason I smile.
But the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate, so you got to coordinate.
Say hello to America's new favorite game show, Think Different TV's Play or Pass. Get ready to experience trivia like never before. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you play the game. Join our charismatic host Bubbles every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the most exhilarating trivia battles on television. As we wrap up our incredible first season, we're gearing up for an even more exciting season 2 in 2025. We're looking for sharp minds and strategic thinkers to join us for one-on-one duels, thrilling team battles, and high-energy tournaments for high school and college students. Think you've got what it takes to outsmart the competition? Prove it! Become a contestant by calling 267. What's up, y'all? I don't know what the hell's going on with my StreamYard right now. I don't know if too hot. I don't know what's going on with my StreamYard right now, but I'm here. I wanted to talk about the movie Straw that I saw yesterday. It came out yesterday, and to not be someone who gets it spoiled for them, I decided to go and just watch it because I have Netflix, and I was like, I might as well just go ahead and watch it while I have the time. Now, um, I'm gonna say this. One thing that bothers me is that a lot of people have a problem with it because they say Tyler Perry has the reputation of always showcasing Black women in a struggle, and that he has to find another topic to talk about because it's frankly getting old. And me, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I know I look crazy right now. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I think that Tyler Perry is fine doing what he does. Oh, I'm about to put my head back on. I look crazy, y'all. I look, I look crazy. I look crazy. Y'all probably wonder why I put the little rub. I don't like to mess up my edges, and I don't want to mess up my hat at the same time. So yeah, um, I look at it like this. First of all, Tyler Perry is employing black people. Hollywood is not really employing black people, and if they do employ black people, they put them in the same roles anyway. So sometimes you gotta just pick a struggle, right? Either you're gonna be casted in a movie that is going to be done by Hollywood that's going to put you in a stereotypical black role, or you could be in a movie where there's a black cast and a black director, and and you're heard and seen on the set. People have a problem with it. I'm like, y'all got a problem with this, but y'all don't have a problem with Daddy's Little Girls or The Family That Prays or any other Tyler Perry movie like that. I didn't know what to expect when I watched this movie. Once again, we're talking about Straw. Let me just throw up. So we're talking about Tyler Perry Straw today. A little bit of a review. Not really a review, just telling y'all how the movie made me feel, and so I guess that's a review of the movie. Also talking about the cast and what everybody individually brought the uh to the big screen. I like to call Netflix the big screen because we're not gonna get a lot of quality stuff in the movie theater. Now, recently, we have been getting some hits back to back, Sinners and all these different movies that have been coming out in the movies, Final Destination, all of that. But Netflix, they have bangers too. You get the right people to do it, So, without further ado, we're going to get into this. So, Straw, starring Taraji P. Henson. Y'all remember her from Baby Boy. Who doesn't know Taraji? Taraji has been on Empire. She was the leading lady on Empire. She was I feel like everything she's pretty much been in, almost everything she's been in, and she's been the leading lady. Like I said, Baby Boy, Acrimony, which is another Tyler Perry movie that she was the main character in. Well, the man was the main character, but she played his wife, and she was on all the flyers. Taraji is top notch actress. Like, she nails her scenes. She's really, really good. I have yet to see failing performance from her. I mean, granted, there have been movies that I was like, she could have done without doing that. It's like somebody else could have did that role in that movie. But Acrimony, Straw, Baby Boy, Empire, the series, like, I can't really see, she doesn't really play a big bad role in any of those. And she was on Color Purple. And that's when she was doing when they was doing the press run, and she was talking about how, Black women don't really get paid their worth in these movies. They always try to lowball us. And that's why I find it interesting that a lot of people are saying, oh, well, all he talks about is the struggle. All he wants to do is showcase Black women in the struggle, this, and the third. But y'all gotta realize the background that Tyler Perry comes from too. It's crazy because y'all will see rappers rapping about gang banging and doing all this different stuff, and they'll have 50-11 raps about that one topic, but y'all never get tired of it because y'all like, well, that's where he came from the struggle, and so that's all he know about this and the third, and not realizing like Tyler Perry was homeless at one point in time. He all he had was his grandmother, like, so he's gonna write from what he knows. And also, if you have a formula that works, why would you go against that formula? Like, he's done different types of shows. He's done shows that's supposed to be funny, supposed to be, lighten up the moods. Everybody say, oh, he eventually somebody's going to talk about, he's going to talk about this in the movie, or eventually this going to come up in the movie. But I'm like this. on some real stuff, he shines a light on a lot of issues that our community does not want to talk about. Oh, don't talk about SA. Don't talk about um, you know, kids having babies and then the grandmother's raising it in secret. Like this stuff really happens. And so men abusing women in relationships, this happens. Just because he chooses to employ Black actors and actresses to act out his story, y'all see it as a bad thing. Oh, he always want to shine a light on, he always want to put a daunting light on Black people, not realizing that he's giving employment opportunities to those who do not usually get employment opportunities in Hollywood. So when you think past that, when you actually do some critical thinking and think about, oh, he could do a movie about, where, first of all, nobody will be able to, none of us will be able to relate to a white person being the main character in a movie about struggle. If Tyler Perry did a whole movie where there was no drama and no type of nothing, and Black family was cool and nothing was going on with them, it will, one, y'all would be like, this is a boring ass movie. Second of all, y'all would be like, what is Tyler Perry in La La Land? Like, do he not know all that goes on in the community? Why is he making up stuff that's so fake? And honestly, if you have not experienced a certain life, it's going to be hard for you to write about it, convey it to your audience. So he's writing from what he knows, and all of y'all just get mad at him. Oh my gosh, he always talk about Black women struggling. Da, 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 da. But like, what if that's all he grew up knowing is a Black woman's struggle? And maybe he wants to shine a light on it to show people that Black women out here are being beat down and told it's pretty much your fault that you are in the situation that you're in, and all of this different stuff. So what's crazy about it is that y'all mad about that. Is it because y'all don't want to acknowledge that that is the case? Is it because y'all don't want to acknowledge that Black women actually struggle out here and we can't do it all, and that we are carrying a lot on our backs? Because society just wants to beat us down. They want and they want to make it seem like we don't feel pain, that we are superwoman, like we're supposed to be able to do it all with no type of strife, no type of, you know, mental health issues or anything like that. And that's not the case. It's women out here, men out here. There's a lot of people, and if y'all just like not think about, oh, it's a Black woman, and you think about the situations that the main character was going through. How many times has someone been evicted from their home? If you haven't been personally evicted, I'm sure you probably know somebody that has. How many of y'all know of a boss that's overbearing at a job, that don't care nothing about you, just want you to come in and do your job? They don't care if you're sick. They don't care if your kid's sick. They don't care nothing about that. That don't have to be a Black woman thing. Who can say that sometimes, cops get a little overbearing? Yeah. And it's not just a Black woman thing, it's a Black man thing, it's a white man thing, it's a white woman thing. Sometimes cops and I said sometimes cops can be a little too much. And they and then the cover up, that happens all the time. it'll be a cop that's just out of control, just doing the most. And a lot of times, other cops don't even say anything. They don't even speak up. But then there's other times when a cop does like kind of like say chill, but then they still sweep everything under the rug. Um, how many of y'all know of these schools that don't provide lunches and expect you to pay for their lunch, and they don't have any special programs, and then they chastise your child in the front of the class because your child don't have the money for their lunch? These are all things that happen, and how and you know, it was other things that happened in the movie that are a little fantastical that wouldn't happen in real life, like unless you just were just that unlucky. But those things that I mentioned before, come on, y'all. I'm sure is many people that can relate to that type of stuff. Being late on rent and your landlord cussing you out like you better have my effing rent or your stuff gonna be out on the street, and then you come back, your stuff is on the street because you didn't pay your rent, or just people that are just not understanding what you're going through and are not willing to sympathize with what you're going through, whatever you're going through, and will not give you a break. So a lot of people getting on Tyler Perry about that, but honestly, at the end of the day, it was a story that was told about one person going through all these series of events, and it's a psychological thriller. So let's get into it. So this is the picture that they used for the advertisement, and then it says Straw is a 2025 American psychological crime drama film written, produced, and directed by Tyler Perry. The film stars, I'm surprised he didn't star in it too. The film stars Taraji P. Henson, Sherry Shepherd, Tiana Taylor, Sinbad, Rockman Dunbar, Ashley Verscher, Mike Merrill, and Glenn Turman. Okay. As you can see, there's the whole lineup right there. This is the beautiful cast. All right. So Tyler Perry's the one that wrote it. He's the one at the top. The first one pictured. Then you got Taraji, you have Sherry Shepherd, Tiana Taylor. As far as Tyler Perry goes, I will say that I'm not sure about the young lady down at the bottom next to the Netflix logo, but I know that Taraji, Tiana, and Rockman Dunbar have been in other movies by Tyler Perry. Taraji has been in I Can Do Bad All By Myself. She's also been in the movie, because there's a play version of it. She's also been in Acrimony, like I talked about earlier. That's also a Tyler Perry production. She's also been in The Family That Prays. And I think that's it. But she's worked with Tyler Perry a lot because she trusts Tyler Perry, and she knows that when it comes to Tyler Perry, she's gonna get paid her worth. That tells you a lot. When somebody is comfortable enough to work with a certain producer or director over and over and over again, that means that bond between that actor, actress, and that director is a close bond. Okay, is not unlike Tim Burton always wanting to work with Johnny Depp, because he knows the quality that he's going to get if he gets Johnny Depp in his movies, and he's worked with him several times. So there you go. Tiana Taylor, she's been in Big Happy Family. by Medea. She was the one that was Bow Wow's baby mom. Talk about some Byron. But she's also been in a lot of other movies, and she is an artist. She's a singer, songwriter, and she's doing a daggone thing. Then you got Rockman Dunbar. Rockman Dunbar, he was in Soul Food, the series. That's how I learned of him. He's also been in The Game. He played Pookie on there, the one that was involved with Tasha Mack, and she was going between him and Rick Fox. He's also been on The Family That Prays by Tyler Perry. And on that, he was with Sanaa Lathan's character on The Family That Prays. And actually, I think this is the second Tyler Perry movie that Taraji and Rockman Dunbar have been in together, because she played Sanaa Lathan's sister. And we all know that iconic scene in The Family That Prays when he finally realizes that, you know, Sanaa is cheating on him with her boss. He sends her flying over the cafe counter. And yeah, so really, really intense. Sinbad and Glenn Turman come together in this film. They didn't shoot any scenes together, but how wonderful it is to have them in this film. They both are a Different World alumni. Glenn Turman played the Colonel, and he was also a teacher there. And Sinbad was the gym teacher at Hillman. That was the college, Hillman College, on A Different World. They both were on there a number of years. I think Sinbad played a character called Walter on A Different World. On here, yeah, I'm not going to get, this is spoiler. So at first, I didn't even know that was him at first when he came up in the wheelchair. And it kind of made me a little emotional too, because Sinbad, y'all already know his health issues. And he had a stroke, I believe. And to hear him deliver lines and and be in this movie just was like, it touched my heart, because I was like, oh my gosh, not only is he back like doing movies, but Tyler was like, I have a part just for you, and let him be in his role and thrive in his role, and it was awesome. Glenn Turman, now leave it up to Tyler Perry to take an actor or actress that you are so in love with and love everything that they do, and they've always played a good person, and then you put them in a role. Tyler Perry is good for taking people out of that cutesy ideology and putting them in a role where you are like, I freaking hate this person. He's done it with Taraji on Acrimony. He's done it with Sanaa Lathan on The Family That Prays. He's done it with let me see, who else did he turn into a bad person? You're like, oh my gosh. To just pull that out of people. He has a new series called Beauty in Black. And in that one, Debbie Morgan plays a cold-hearted sister. And as long as I've known Debbie Morgan to be in anything, she's always been a sweet, nice person, or just kind of played background. And to see him put her in a role where she's cold-blooded is just, oh my goodness. But in this movie, Glenn Turman, first of all, his name was Richard, all right? And we all know the nickname for Richard is you already know. But is not that word. And yeah, so it was just like fitting. I don't know if he meant to do that. I don't know if that was like what he meant to convey to the audience. Like, this dude is a true, because he did not care what was going on with Taraji's character Janiyah. He did not care whatsoever. So and down at the bottom, I don't want to like miss out on these young uh this young actor and actress. Uh, the one guy that's next to Rockman Dunbar down at the bottom is Sinbad Rockman Dunbar, and then the young man next to him, he played one of the cops in the movie who was partners with Tiana Taylor. And the young lady at the end next to the Netflix logo, she played one of the bank tellers named Tessa, I think. Tessa. Okay. So I didn't even know this, but Tyler Perry shot this movie in 4 days. I had no idea. As good as it was, I would never even thought it was shot in 4 days. I would have thought it took way longer to shoot this. But when you think about it, he got his own studios, he has his own setup. He don't gotta wait for anybody. That's one of the main reasons why it's so important to have your own. Because he didn't have to wait for anybody to give him any funds to produce this movie, or then he had his own funds, he had his own money. He said, I want to do this movie and I'm gonna put it out. Excuse me, guys. I don't know what's going on. All right. So that's the amazing thing about Tyler Perry. He has his own. So he didn't have to wait at all for anybody to give him anything to put out this movie. And that's why it took him only 4 days to do, because he didn't have to wait for anybody. He probably wrote the script. He probably sent it out to the people he knew he wanted to be in it. Probably did a few little auditions, whoop whoop, got everybody together around for a table read, maybe two. Because all of these people are so professional, he probably was like, well, let's get to filming. Filmed it in 4 days. And it's about to be the #1 movie on Netflix. I guarantee you. This movie about to be the #1 movie on Netflix. Just because it's that damn good. It is that damn good. All right. Let's start it off. So you have Janiyah, a single mother who lives in this apartment. It is not the cleanest apartment. It's not really dirty either. It's just, you could tell that it's not as clean as I would like it. It's bowls of oodles and noodles sitting out. It's looking crazy. But she is listening. She wakes up. Her daughter is lying next to her. But before she even wakes up, it's a scene where she's walking in the hospital, and she has her daughter in her arms, and she's walking. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, maybe she's having a flashback to that situation. She gets her daughter up, gets her ready for school, gives her a bath. Her daughter says, Mom, I could give myself a bath. She's like, I don't know, Janiyah, you fell, you hurt yourself, and I don't want that to happen again, which is understandable. Now, her daughter tells her, hey, Mom, I need that $40 for school for my lunch. And it's because the teacher has said to her she needs to have it because she can't give her one of the free lunches. And so Taraji was Janaya, I'm gonna use her character name, asked her daughter, so did she say that in front of the class? And so the little girl was like, yeah. She was like, yes. And so she said, okay, no problem. And she was upset, understandably so, because come on now, like it's bad enough, struggling and everything like that, and for people to not be sympathetic to that and blast my child in front of other students and put them in a position to be bullied or anything like that, like I would be mad too. So she has to get to work. She gets her daughter together. She takes her, puts her in the car. Sinbad's character asks her for a little bit of change. She's like, I don't know. Then she relents and she gives him the money. Then she gets in the car, takes her daughter to school, drops her off. It was this teacher standing out there. She was looking at her weird. And you're like, okay, because I was like, why is this chick staring her down like that? Why is she looking at her crazy? Like maybe she already has some type of something against her or whatever. So then she gets in the car, she goes to work. Oh my gosh, I worked in retail. Y'all. I can tell y'all that was no exaggeration. It gets like that. I think before COVID it was a lot worse. I think after COVID people kind of chilled. And then once they created stuff like Instacart and stuff like, things like that, there's not as many people in the actual supermarket. But I was like, yo, I have experienced stuff like that before. I worked in Walgreens. I've come in. It's not even my shift didn't even start yet. Let's say I'm supposed to be there at 2:30. I get there at 2. All right. Manager already asking me, can you go to the register and start ringing up? I'm like, my shift didn't even start yet. We can't even clock in early. Like, are you going to clock me in manually? Because I'm not about to work unless I'm on the clock. And it used to be this thing where you couldn't clock in. Like you had to clock in like 10 minutes prior to your time. So I'm there at 2:00. You trying to have me go to work right away because it's a long line and the person up front is not fast enough. You want me to come in and just start bringing on the register. And I'm like, I'm not about to do that until I'm clocked in. I go clock in and then I come back. But in the meantime, in between time, you come in your uniform. That's why some people, when they come in the door at any retail place, if they got to wear a uniform or something like that, they really don't like wearing their uniform into the door or to wear a jacket or something like that. So nobody know that they work there, because people can get pretty testy because they're like, I've been standing in the line and then this other person just came in and they take it forever to come down here and blah 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 blah. So it get like that, and that's no exaggeration. It looked like it was a hot day. It was the first of the month, everybody trying to get their stuff that they need to get and get out. And it really be like that. So I was like, that's not an exaggeration. That's not Tyler Perry trying to amp it up a little bit. That stuff really happens. But I digress. Taraji comes in, she goes, checks in, she goes to her register, she brings up this lady, and the lady had certain items that could not be rung up with her WIC card. And so Janaya was like, listen, you have to pay it's like 38 something. And she got mad and she was like, nah, I don't. And then the guy that was with her, peep this, okay? So that made me mad too, because this guy is standing behind her. She got her baby in her arms, but clearly this guy can't possibly be the father of her baby. It's not the father of her baby.
or if it is the father of her baby, I don't know. But you can tell, like, he is counting on her being able to buy whatever he wants with her WIC card. And so and he had liquor, you can't pay for no liquor with no WIC card. Can't do that. So, so he was mad, and he ended up throwing the liquor bottle at her feet, at Jania's feet. And then instead of her boss being understanding, no, actually, when she first came in and she had to clock in, he was like, come on, you got to get out there. You see that line out there, blah, 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 blah. And he was just so mean. I was like, oh my gosh. But I have had a manager like that. And like, that's why I was like, everything I was like, Dad, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. I can relate to that, because I've been in situations like that. I've had bosses like that. So when she came in and he was like, "You need to go. What are you just standing there for? Why are you walking? Run!" Like, being really mean about it. I was like, "Wow, like this is crazy." And then when she gets out there to throw the bottle at her feet, and then the boss, not caring about his employee, he like, you need to clean this up before it be a whole mess, or somebody slip and fall, da, 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 da. So he said, she'll be right back, and then he tells her to go get a mop and a bucket. She's in the back. Another young lady that works there, she came to the back and was talking to her, and she was just like, "Hey, are you good? Are you okay?" And Janiyah like, I mean, I'm doing what I can, pretty much. And so the friend offered her some money, and she's like, "No, no, I can't take that." And she's just like, "No, we get paid today. I'll be fine." This and third. She was like, "Please, like, whatever you got to do to get you something to eat, get your baby something to eat, blah blah blah." She's like, "No, I'm good." So she gets a call, and then apparently she has to go to the school. Richard comes back there as she's on the phone, and he's like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be up there. I know you're not on the phone. That's against company policy, blah 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 blah." She's like, "I gotta go to my child's school. I have to take this to my child's school." So he's like, I don't care what you gotta do. Do you not see that line out there? He's like, every time I turn around, there's always something with you. She's like, but I have to go. I have to go and take this. He's like, I'll be back. I'll go and I'll be right back. He was like, you got 30 minutes. She was like, 30 minutes. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get back in 30 minutes. He's like, 30 minutes or you're going to be fired. And I was like, dang, like, so she leaves, but not without a whole bunch of rigmarole. She asked for her check. He was like, you gotta be effing kidding me. You be lucky if you even have a job when you get back. So you need to hurry up and go and do what you gotta do. Come back, you got 30 minutes. So she leaves, and then she's in traffic. No, first she goes to the bank and she tries to get out some money. And the crazy thing about this part is that, so this particular bank, if you go below a certain amount in your account, you're at risk for your account being closed because you're not at the minimum amount that's supposed to be in your account. And I never heard of no crap like that. And I'm glad I don't deal with banks like that. So it was also showing you how janky banks are too. Because how you gonna tell me I can't take my money out of my banking account? I don't care if my account balance is 50 cents. And you know what's so crazy? But if something was to be debited from your account, like let's say she had the $47 in there and something was debited from her account for $42 or whatever, they would have let the charge go through. They wouldn't have said, "Oh no, this can't be debited from the account because the account will be below the certain amount to keep the account open." No, it would have just been debited from their account and it would have been nothing. So why can't the person that owns the account just take the money out of the account? So that was making me mad because I was like, it doesn't make any sense. So she got $47 on her card. She's trying to take the money off. That's all she wanted to do. And she couldn't get the $40 off the daggone card. So after that, she just leaves. I don't know if she ever got the money or whatever, but she goes to the school. She gets to the school. When she gets to the school, it's this whole thing where they're taking her child to DCF because they're like, every time she comes in, she's hungry, or every time she comes in, she's not clean, and just that. She's like, you're lying. Like, yeah, she might be a little bit hungry, but I make sure she has something to eat, and they just like, they're taking her away and all this stuff. And so that was traumatic because how many times has it been a simple thing that people can help you with, but instead of helping you, they turn around and call DCF on you and get your children taken away. Like, you see me clearly struggling. You see me clearly trying to take care of my daughter by myself. Instead of being compassionate and being like, listen, let me, don't worry about her. Matter of fact, let me tell y'all a story. Me and my son's father was like not together, and we decided to put my son in this particular school. And it was a glorified daycare. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't even a school. Well, anyway, this particular academy, every month the tuition was double my rent and plus some. So I was like, well, I'm going to turn around and I'm going. His dad had to pay a portion and I had to pay a portion. I had to pay 2/3. His dad only paid a third, right? So I will always be on time with my payment because I knew that I didn't want them to be on my behind, but his dad will be behind on his payment sometime. And the thing is, they didn't look at it as separate. They was just like, it's one child and he was in danger of being kicked out and this, that, and the third, because we simply did not have the money like that. And the way that they would make it seem like they'll say stuff like, oh, we love your son, but rules are rules and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, y'all clearly see that majority of his tuition is paid. Like, why do y'all have to be going crazy over like $200? And like I said, the tuition was like $1,600. You mean you got $1,400, but you giving me grief over $200 that's not paid? So, needless to say, we took him out of their school. But that's what I'm talking about. She just needed $40. I'm like, these teachers, I know they teachers already have it bad enough. They're not really getting paid their worth on one end of the thing. But none of them said, hey, this is a good student. She's never any trouble in class. She just didn't have any friends. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. But anyway, boom. So, like I said, like I remember this one case where this child showed up to school and in her book bag there was a roach. So they called Child Protective Services on her parents. Like, why? Talk about some neglect. Because there was a roach in her book bag. Like, are we serious right now? And I know some people, they be having infestations and everything like that. But you know what's crazy? I watch a lot of hoarders. And let me tell you, hoarders, it be people hoarding a whole bunch of stuff in their house and have kids and have cats and dogs and mice and all this different stuff running around, and people would take forever to call CPS, DCF on them. Forever. And I'm not gonna lie, those people be, you know, they got the complexion for protection. But us, really, y'all like, oh, cause she come in here, she be hungry, and also, you know, she also is not that clean. What are you? She was like, what are you talking about? Anyway, we know what it is. So when I saw that part, that made me instantly hot. She leaves. She's trying to get back to work because she got a 30-minute deadline. She is driving. She gets to this point where it's like a lot of traffic. So she tried to go around it. And then this car pulls out, and obviously the person had the same idea. And they didn't collide, but the guy was really upset. He cussed her out. He threw something at her window, like a drink at her window. I'm like, and then here is the kicker. He pretty much runs into her, has a car spinning around and all this crazy stuff. After that happens, the police is a police officer that comes up. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you're here. You know, and it was the lady cop. She's like, I'm so glad that you're here. You know, it was just an accident. This guy pretty much ran into me. And then the man walks up and he's like, yeah, I called her. And he's like, I bet you didn't know I was a cop, did you? She was like, oh my gosh. So now this guy, he a whole asshole. Sorry for my language, but he is. And he decides he wants to turn around and start saying all this stuff to her, like it's obvious. The black woman sitting in the car, she's obviously terrified. He is going at her like, yeah, I can't wait till you give me a reason to pow you and all the stuff. And he was going hard. And so the other cop was like, chill, you too hot, go over there. He's like going off. And so finally the lady was like, I need your license and registration. Janiyah hands it to her. It was expired. She was like, listen, I was going to get my check today. I was like, this check, I was like, how much is she getting on this check? Because with this same check, and I'm not trying to be funny, but it is kind of funny because she has this one check, but she's expecting to pay her rent with this check. So I wonder how much is her rent, or how much is the check at this point? How much is the check? How much is her rent? She says she's going to need $40 for her kid's school. And also she was going to pay for her registration and her everything to be up to date that same day. I'm like, how much is this check going to be? This check probably going to be over $1,000 because there's a lot she got to pay up on, right? But the lady, the cop was unrelenting and was just like, we gotta tow your car. So he tows the car. She kept saying to her, I need my car, please don't do this. The lady did not listen. Took her car, and the next thing you know, you see her walking into this super center, this supermarket where she works, and she's soaking wet. All right, because it was raining outside. And then you know how they say when it rains, it pours. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it was raining for real when it was filming, or if they was using it as imagery, but it was just like, it was so fitting for everything that she was going through. It was raining hard. And it was like everything she did, it didn't matter what she did, she just could not get ahead. And so that rain was just constantly falling on her head, right? She gets to the super center and she goes straight to the register, and she's just gonna start ringing up. Like, car taken. She had to walk back to work. Her daughter was taken by DCF. She's processing all this stuff in her brain right now, and she's still gonna just go to work. And how many times has it been a situation where we have so much put on our shoulders and so much on our mind that we think the only thing that's going to take our mind off of these situations is to go and work, or we bury all that down and just go to work? Like, it's been time people will be like, they be at work and they'll be kind of down and everything like that, and people be like, well, what's wrong? I know I went to work and I had several deaths within a 2-month span, but I couldn't miss work. I had to go to work. I couldn't take bereavement. I couldn't afford to take bereavement. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, something serious. All these things happened to her, and all she knew, she just was like floating. Like, a part in the movie, she says she felt like she was floating outside her body. At that moment, you know, she's just like, she's done. She's cooked. But it's muscle memory. That's what I wanted to say. It's muscle memory. All she knew to do was go back to work. She goes to work. She's standing at the register. She's about to ring up some people. And then the guy comes up, the manager, Richard. He comes up and he says, no, you're not taking anybody. He's like, come back then. Take to the back. He said, go to the office. She's standing in the office. She's pacing back and forth. She don't know what's about to happen. He's like, listen, look at you. Look at you. You said you was going to be back in 30 minutes. It's been 2 hours. I already called such and such in, and blah, blah, blah. And he's just going in. Never asked her what was wrong. Never. He didn't care. He did not care. His main focus was, you weren't here when you were supposed to be here. You were not back in 30 minutes like you said you would be. You came back in 2 hours. You're soaking wet. I don't know what the freak is going on. And for that reason, I gotta let you go. So on top of her daughter being taken by DCF, her car being taken, now he's firing her. And it just seemed like nothing's in her control. Like, everything's just happening to her. And she says, well, can I at least get my check? And he's like, you know what happens as far as policy is concerned, when you get fired, your check is going to be in the mail. And she's like, but my check is literally right there. I need my check. And he's like, I told you the check will be in the mail. She leaves. She goes to her apartment, the apartment building that she's staying in. And all of her stuff is on the street. Because earlier that day, her landlord fussed her out when she gave the money to Sinbad's character, the little change that she had. She said, oh, you got enough, you got money to give to him, but you can't pay me my rent. And she's like, listen, I get my check today, I'm gonna have the rent for you, blah, 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 blah. She's like, listen, if you don't, she's like, I have my break at 10. I'm gonna cash my check, I'm gonna bring it to you, and I'm gonna bring you the rent money at 10 o'clock. She said, okay. By the time she got back, it's obviously way past 10 o'clock. So what happens now? She comes home, all her stuff is out on the street. And she is screaming at the top of her lungs. And it's raining, it's pouring, it's raining all over her stuff. And all she knew to do was just to grab her daughter's book bag, her daughter's science project that she had earlier today. The science project plays a big part in this. She takes that, she puts that in there, her daughter's medications, and she heads back to the supermarket. And so when she gets back to the supermarket, she goes straight to to Richard's office. Richard's on the phone at this time. And so he's like, what do you want? Like, and he's just so mean. She's like, listen, I really need my check. I don't have nowhere to go. He's like, what does that have to do with me? I told you you're going to get it in the mail, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, yo, why is he being such a, well, it makes sense because his name is Richard, right? But at the same time, I'm like, yo, he really is like terrible. And this is Glenn Turman, and I'm so used to seeing him as a good person. So this is like blowing me away that I'm building up such vitriol for this character because I know so many managers like him. I know so many bosses like him that are just such dicks. And then you're like, yo, like, just give me my check. He wouldn't give her a check. At the same time, this guy comes up to the doorway and he's like, hey, you know, and then he reads her name tag. Hey, Miss Janaya, you know, and she's like, okay, hey, you know, and then he was part of a group that was him and another guy, and they was planning on robbing the store owner. Now, he already has all these checks out, has money out, this, that, and third. And I mean, like they like go in the safe, got the gun all in his face or whatnot. And he says, go in the safe, take out the money or whatever. He takes out so Richard takes the money out the safe. He puts the money on the table. Now the guy who is robbing, he gonna tell Janaya to put the money in her bag and give it to him. But she don't want to give up the bag because the bag got her daughter's science project in it, got her daughter's medication, all this different stuff that she has to keep. So she's not giving up this bag. He's hitting her in the face with the gun, boom, boom, boom. And then she gets all this strength, y'all, all this strength to wrestle the gun away from him and shoot the guy, right? And the other guy runs away. And so now it's just her and the manager in the office together. Did the manager say, thank you for saving me? Did the manager say, oh, you're so brave? You killed a dude? No. He automatically says, you tried to set me up. You tried to set me up. He knew your name. I'm calling the cops. Mind you, none of the money is taken. The one of the guys that was trying to rob him is now deceased on the floor. And wait, you gonna tell me that I had something to do with this? So now it's just like white noise to her. Like she really don't hear him anymore. He's on the phone telling the person on the phone her name and that she was part of it and she tried to set him up and this, that, and the third. But she literally shot dude and she's standing there and she's shaking because she never shot anybody before. And she's literally shaking right now. And you definitely don't care about this employee at all. You want to say she tried to set you up and all this different stuff. So Janaya was like, I can't hear this no more. And she ends up pow-powing the manager. And then here's the kicker. There's all this money on the desk. All this money, everybody's checks. You know what she did? She only searched to find her check to go and cash. She only searched to find her check. She didn't take none of the other money because that's not what she wanted. She wanted her check. She was focused. She was laser focused on what she wanted. She took her check. Now, she just shot pow pow. I'm sorry. She just pow pow 2 people, right? They are both now deceased on the floor. And this was her chance to just take a bus, leave the area. No. What does she do? She goes over to the bank to cash her check. And this is when it takes a turn. This is when it takes a turn. She goes to the bank, but the bank is being locked up because it's about to close. However, Sherry Shepherd's character, who she encountered earlier that day when she tried to take out the $40, says, let her in, let her in. Lets her in. She's like, thank you so much. And then it was crazy because when she got there, she was able to walk straight up to the teller. But then all of a sudden, it was other people in the bank. That kind of screwed me up because I was like, when she got there, and I feel like I gotta watch it again because I was like, wasn't nobody else in line because she was able to go straight up to the teller to cash her check. Or maybe Sherry Shepherd's character just guided her up there because she already knew she was having a tough day and was like, let's just get her out the way so she can cash a check. I don't know. It was just weird because the next thing you know, it was four people in line. It was a couple. It was a black dude, and then it was one of the ladies that ended up ultimately staying in the bank. And the security guard, he ain't worth a damn. He ain't worth a damn. I'll tell y'all why in a moment. But she lets her go up to the front to go cash a check. The girl, Tessa, I think that's her name. Tessa was like, oh, you must have kids. You got this red smuts on here, but it was actually blood. Because remember the whole fiasco with the manager and the other guy. So she says, I need your ID. And then Janiyah is like, I don't have my ID. And so it was this whole back and forth. The girl was like, I can't cash it without you having ID, which is, she just doing her job. I was with Tessa at that moment because I was like, she just doing her job. Doesn't you got to have your ID when you cash a check. And she's like, but you helped me before. I really need this money, this and third. So then she has the book bag sitting on the floor. Now, the science project that her daughter made is in this bag. So after a while, she just gets mad. She just sits the pow on the counter. So now both of the tellers get all nervous, right? So this is what tripped me out, right? Because the way they reacted, I thought that would have alerted the people that was in line, but they obviously did not catch on to what was going on because later on, Sherry Shepherd's character, she's sitting in the office because one of the young ladies tripped the alarm. She's sitting in the office and she's looking out in the thing, and she gets a call, and they say, "Oh, we just got a call, an alert that your bank is being robbed. And so she's like, yes, it's being robbed. He was like, do you have your eyes on the suspect? She's like, yes. She describes Janiyah. Then she says, yeah. So they say, do you know the person's name? And she's like, she's like, I think it's like Janae. So the person was like, is it Janiyah? I think her last name is Wilkerson or whatever. And she's like, yes, yes. And he was like, listen, she's actually, he's like, don't worry, you know, police will be there in a moment. She's already like a person of interest for something else. So she said, well, she has an explosive, because she sees that her book bag that's sitting on the floor is something in there lighting up. So she don't know what it is. And nobody ever thought to ask Janiyah what that was in her book bag. Nobody asked her. They just assumed that it was. But common sense, why would she have an explosive in a see-through bag? How did she make it to the bank? Nobody was thinking, how did she make it to the bank with an explosive in the bag that is see-through? If it was an explosive. So that made me mad because, and I love Sherry Shepherd, but her character was kind of like getting on my nerves a little bit, because it was like, she's like, oh, she has an explosive. So now they're like, okay, now it's heavy alert, because the bank has a certain policy. If there's explosives involved, then they can't just storm the bank to try to get the bank robber. They gotta play it cool, because that bank robber can set off the explosive, and then there's a whole bunch of fatalities, and they don't want that. So she, like the whole time, we know that it's not an explosive. We know what it, us the viewer, we know what it is, but the people that's in the movie, they don't know what it is, because, and then nobody bothered to ask, which made me furious. All right. So she comes out and she tries to tell the stupid people in line. Now, this is where I was like, where did these people come from? Because when she initially came in there, the bank was closing, and she was the only person that walked into the front. Now it was magically 4 people in line. Where did these people come from? So she goes to tell them, like, hey, I'm sorry, I need y'all to leave. It's that third. And the one black dude, the tall black dude, he was like, what the F? Like, I don't know if he cussed. I can't remember if he cussed or whatever, but he was just like, we've been here, we trying to get our money, da 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 da. And she's like trying to tell them so subtly that, it's a situation happening. But these fools not picking up what she putting down. You ain't gotta tell me but one time, I'm sorry, you have to leave. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Take care of whatever I gotta take care of. I don't know. I really don't do banks like that. So like I was left. Anyway, so magically these people appear, and now we have a hostage situation, because now they're put on notice, and she's put on notice that they put on notice, and now Janiyah like, what the heck is going on? And at this time, she's like, I just need you to cash my check. I need you to cash my check. My check is for this amount. And when I found out the amount, y'all, I was mad, because I was like, how is she gonna pay the rent? Had a $40 for kids. And get the registration for her car with that a bit of money. I don't know how much her rent is. I don't know if her rent is like $200, $300. Cause baby, that check, it wasn't enough on that check to cover everything that she kept saying she was going to take care of that day. And instead of just cashing her check, they're like putting all this money on the counter. So this is making her upset, because she's like, I didn't ask for all this. I just want you to cash my check. Just give me the money for my check. Like, why are you trying to give me all this money? This is not what I want. And that should have been a clue to them, like, oh, this lady not crazy. She just want her check cash. If I was the teller, I would have been like, oh, okay. First of all, you put a pow on the counter and you say, just cash my check. How much is your check for? Oh, this amount? Okay. Two. Here you go. There's your money. But honestly, the reason why this carried out for so long is because people weren't asking questions. People were just doing what they wanted to do. They weren't listening to her. All of this could have been avoided if y'all just use y'all listening ears and stop trying to figure out what she wants when she's telling you clearly what she wants. Y'all all freaking out. Y'all worst bank tellers. Y'all could not be in no hostage situation, no bank, nothing, because y'all cannot keep y'all cool. Y'all are like, it's crazy because I thought there was training or something that people got to go through when they work at banks and work. When I was working at Walgreens, they was like giving us, this is what would happen if something like this happens. What do you have to do? What would you have to do in this situation? Somebody walks up and they say, give me all the money in the register, and they have a pow. What do you do? We're supposed to step back. We're supposed to say, we're supposed to keep our hands, like we're supposed to show our hands at all time. At any time we're about to do something, we're supposed to let them know what we're about to do. You want the money, right? Okay. I have to sign in to pop the register open. Can I do that? All right, sign in. Then I say, I'm going to reach in, I'm going to take the money out, and I'm going to give it to you. So then you just take the money out, and you just give it to them. You keep your hands where they can see them at all times. And then what happens is they take the money, you get to keep your life. Right? Don't try to play hero. Don't be like, I can't give you the money. It's not your money. It's the store's money. That's why they have insurance. And they always tell you, do not try to play hero, because we can replace that money, but we cannot replace you. Well, they can replace you in your job position if you get unalived, but they can't replace your life. So you just gotta like play it cool. These girls was tripping. She's like, come on, that's not what I wanted. I want my check. I want my check cash. So then Sherry Shepherd was like, okay. She went up there. She said, okay, here, what's your check for? All right. She gave her the money, but now the situation done blew up way past what it was supposed to be. Way past what it was supposed to be. Now, set the scene. Now we're in the bank hostage situation, right? She's standing up there with the pow. Actually, this is before they was putting all the money on the counter, and this is before she actually got the money from her check. The one tall guy storms her, runs up on her, and the gun goes off. And when that happens, the security guard and the dude run out of the bank. So the security guard, I told y'all he ain't worth a damn. He left all the people in there. He did not care. And the other guy, he ain't nothing either. And I think, I'm not sure, I'm gonna have to watch it again, but I swear to y'all that when he ran up on her at that counter, remember they was putting all the money on the counter trying to give her all the money, right? And she kept saying, I don't want that. I just want my check cash. I think when he ran up there and like trying to get the gun from her, he grabbed some of that money. I think he grabbed some of that money, y'all, and put it in his pocket. And then he ran out. And then so now it leaves 3 people in the line plus the 3 people that work at the bank. And the couple gets it. So the couple is together and there's this other lady. The couple, the guy, he's like mad and he's like saying, you know, y'all never want to work for nothing. Y'all just want to take. No, don't even know her story. Don't even know who she is. Don't know why she doing. And she keeps saying, I'm not here to rob the bank. I just want to cash my check. That's all I want to do. If she wanted, the thing that made me mad is she had a check to cash because she obviously worked for the money that's on the check. And when the dude was going off, so I'm a veteran and we fought, so you people he was going off. You know, I love my vets, but I hate vets that just be like they just doing the most. Because honestly, this dude was like he was doing too much, and he obviously is not somebody that was in the, you know, um trying to keep people calm. Like he's more of an escalator. He didn't know how to de-escalate the situation, and yet he was a vet. So he there was wife. He's like, you might as well just let us go because, and then they just ran out because she did not want to hurt nobody. She just wanted her check cash. They leave out, so that leaves the older lady. And before they even left, she said she had to sit down. They had her sit down. Then the couple just left out. Um, and then it got to a point where it just got too crazy, and the TV was on. She looks at the TV, and they're talking about some, you know, Janiyah Wilkerson is the person of interest that is robbing the bank. And she's like, "Why do they keep saying I'm robbing the bank? I'm not robbing the bank. I'm just want to cash my check." Like, yo. And then on top of that, they all think that she got an explosive. Nobody bothered to ask her what it was inside of the bag. So, which is crazy because they was able to talk to her and everything like that and have a conversation, have dialogue with her, but nobody thought to ask her what was in her bag. So now she sees that she's on the news. Now she sees that people think that she's trying to rob a bank. And she also sees the cop from earlier on the screen. So she's like, I definitely can't leave now because that dude is going to pop me as soon as I leave out here. And baby, they was in there for about 12 hours. And she made a connection with Detective Raymond, played by Tiana Taylor. And let me just tell you, he got a really good cast to kind of like put together because just a little side note, you know, Taraji P. Henson was a single mother, is a single mother. I'm sorry, she is a single mother. She decided, I think in her early 30s or so, to just pick up her and her son and just move to LA and decide to be an actress. And she put a lot into, you know, making sure, it might have been when she was in her 20s or her early 30s. She made this decision to just move and take her son, and she was a single mom and she had to make ends meet. That's why I feel like she put a lot of herself into the character of Janiyah. I think she channeled those years of her being a single mom, of her being, you know, in a situation where she didn't have much money and she was pretty much struggling, going check to check, paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet. And then you have Tiana Taylor. And Tiana Taylor, she's recently a single mother. She was married, you know, to oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? She's married to boy. I can't think of his name right now. Excuse me. You know, it's so crazy. They was in the news and going back and forth for a long time, but his name escapes me. So Tiana Taylor and Bull, they were married, they divorced, and they have 2 daughters. So now she is back in single mother mode. Now she's not single mother as far as like he don't take care of his kids. She's just single based off of relationship status. So she's just single based off of relationship status. So it's her, and so she's pretty much by herself. And she's been trying to date, and a lot of people are speculating over who she's dating and all this different stuff. So that's just a side note. But to have that be something that's in your personal life, and then you're on screen, and then she said, not only am I a single mother, she's like, I understand what you're going through. Not only am I a single mother, but I also was raised by a single mother. And the one cop was like, don't you telling her too much and this, that, and the third. But the thing is that she was building a rapport with Janiyah as she was talking with her. And not only that, first they tried to have a man call. I think the head sergeant, whatever, he tried to call, and she was like, I don't want to talk to. And then when Detective Raymond got on the phone, because she was like, listen, everybody that's done the wrong so far has been a man. How about we find somebody that is going to relate to her and talk to her woman to woman? And so she got on the phone with her, and she started building a rapport with her, and everything was going good. I forgot what ended up eventually happening where they lost connection, but they lost connection. And then here we are just sitting again. So now they're once again in this in the bank, and the one teller, not Tessa, but the other one, she decided to prop her phone up and go live. So the second time they made contact. The second time she made contact with Detective Raymond, it was a whole thing where, she was telling her story, and she was letting them know like everything that happened to her throughout the day. And because the lady, the teller went live, a lot of people out, on in the city saw what she was saying, was, and they was sympathizing with her. They now saw her. And I think that was a critical turning point in the whole entire movie, where you go all these years of being unseen, and nobody having your back with anything. And now she's finally seen. And initially not in the light that she would have wanted to be seen. But when that teller went live, what she did was she turned this mystery person, and she made this person human to everybody that's watching. So instead of it just being like, oh, there's a standoff at the bank, and there's somebody in there trying to rob it, and this is the suspect, this and that, they would have never heard what she said to the person had the lady not gone live. Because what happens is, when stuff like that go down, we don't know what was said to the person that was robbing the bank. If they eventually surrender and everything like that, we don't know what discussions were made. We don't know anything like that. We don't know the conversation that was had when to make that person decide ultimately that they wanted to give up, or they don't know. We don't know the ins and outs of it. All we know was the end result. We know what was happening, and then we know the end result. But what that bank teller did was, she made her human. She made her someone that was seen. And so when everybody saw the live, next thing you know, it's all these people at the bank, standing out there along with the cops, protesting for them to free Janiyah. And when Janiyah saw that on the news, she was like, it's like she breathed a sigh of relief, like, oh my gosh, like people really, they see me now. They see me. But she was still scared to go out there because that police officer was still out there. And so she tells Detective Raymond about the police officer. And she's like, I can't come out until, that's taken care of, that he's not out there. And also, it was another cop. And Janiyah never got their names. But she was like, there was another cop that was there, a young lady, and she wrote the ticket. She this and a third. And the crazy thing is, it took a while for them to find it because it was in another county. But once they found it, now they know who the cop is. Detective Raymond was livid. All right. The reason why, and honestly, I was happy that Detective Raymond was out there because she already tried to see Janiyah as a human being from the rip, because she saw a lot of herself in her and she saw a lot of her mom in her. Okay. That's really key, really critical in this thing, because all Janiyah needed was one person to believe that she wasn't this bad person. These detectives, they went around trying to question people about her, which was so crazy because they left the scene of the crime to go and try to find Janiyah, not knowing that Janiyah was literally still in the area at the bank. So she wasn't even that far. She was like literally across the driveway. But they questioned the young lady that she worked with. The young lady she worked with was like, she would never do this. She's like, I know some bum bees that would set people up, but she ain't like that. She's not like that, And also, Detective Raymond looked at the tape and she was like, it looked like she went in there to go get her check, and these guys just came out of nowhere and tried to rob the manager. And and how could they watch that and even think she had anything to do with it when she shot the person? She pow pow. I'm sorry, I gotta clean up my language. She pow pow the person that was trying to rob the manager. She stood there in shock for a while. She ended up pow powing the manager, but then after all that, she only takes her check. Like, she didn't take none of the money. It just was weird to me. Like, everybody was thinking like she was this cold-blooded person, that she was in on it and all this different stuff. And I was glad that Detective Raymond was like, you know what, maybe it looked like she wasn't even trying to rob nobody. Also, when they went to where she lived there and they looked out and they saw all her stuff out there on the street, they was like, so you pretty much threw all her stuff out on the street. Why was that? She was like, well, she said she was going to come and give me my money. She ain't never give me my money. This, and the third. And so Detective Raymond was like, what? So Sinbad's character, he comes up in his wheelchair and he's just like, she's the nicest person you ever did meet, her daughter, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, she wouldn't do anything wrong, and whenever I need money, she gives me money even when she really doesn't have it herself. And so Detective Raymond is like, this is a good person. Like, what the heck? Like, how did this all happen? How did this all transpire? Why did it get so bad? And then when they was like, they wanted to check out the apartment, the landlady was like, oh, unless you giving me first and last month's in security, you can't check out the apartment. And then the male cop was about to say something, but then Detective Raymond was like, she's not even worth it. She's not even worth it. No, and she's actually, I think she said something like, this one is not even worth it. And the lady was like, what? like just going off. And so then that's when they get the call that the bank robbery was in process. They get over there. But Detective Raymond saw that there was something clearly not right from the jump. And so she pretty much made it her mission to try to find out what exactly went on, why did it go on, and that's why she had this connection to Janiyah. So Detective Raymond was her connection outside of the building, and her connection inside the building was Sherry Shepherd's character. And the whole time they in there, the girl Tessa, she a young girl. She don't, even with Janiyah telling her story and everything like that, Tessa like, she's like, I really don't care. Like, she's holding us hostage with a pow pow, and y'all treating her like she's a martyr. Like, y'all trying to like, you trying to make sure she's comfortable and everything like that. And what they had eyes inside the bank through the cameras, and they saw Janiyah go and grab chairs for everybody, and except for the older lady, but she got chairs for the 3 people that worked at the bank and herself. And she's like, man, they be sitting down, I can it could be a calmer atmosphere. The movie goes on, and so this movie made me really emotional several times because, like I said, a lot of the things that she went through in the movie you could relate to. There was times before I got my job, uh I was struggling to keep my refrigerator full with food, and it was times I was scared I was going to be able to pay my rent, I was going to be put out on the street, all these fears. Right now, I'm not like I don't like being a fearful person. I don't like feeling like I can't live my life in its entirety because I'm constantly owing people. I'm constantly trying to build, but I keep getting billed. You get what I'm saying? And it I could have a bang up day. I can get my paycheck. My paycheck could be looking lovely. And to know that all that is, I can look at the check and just know that it will all be gone before I even get my next one, because I have so much stuff that I have to pay. And and it's sad, because as you're watching the movie, if you've ever been in that situation, all of those feelings, everything that you go through, you just be like, yo, I'm like, I relate. I relate because I go through that all the time. I rarely have any money to put food in the refrigerator. I rarely have money to keep a roof over my head or to pay my electricity. Or, just hilarious. She talks about times where she had to light up candles, all these candles in her house because she ain't had no electricity. And, she was struggling. Everybody has some type of situation where we had to just be resourceful, and we had to just make things happen regardless of everything that was going on around us. And in her struggle to keep afloat, she lost herself. Her mental health deteriorated. This movie, like I said, is a psychological thriller starring Taraji P. Henson, Sherry Shepherd, and Tiana Teller. And thing that's crazy about it is that I don't know what ending is real. It's one of those movies where you're like, Dad, I watched it. Do I want to watch it again? I kind of do, but then I don't, because I don't want those feelings to be drummed up again. I don't want to get to the ending and sob again. Um, it's just hard to find out what ending is the true ending. I don't know which ending is the true ending. I have a feeling like the first situation that happened where they came into the bank, I feel for some reason I feel like that's what actually happened. Anyway, they finally find a cop. Detective Raymond tells her, listen, I know who the cop is. She's like, I don't know. You gotta send me the picture because I don't think you're telling me the truth, blah, blah, blah. And then she can't send it to her because the FBI has now taken over and they don't want to turn on the daggone phone so she can get the picture. So Detective Raymond like, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna go and I think around this time too, I think the girl Tessa, by this time they had found out that the thing inside her backpack was actually her child science project. And so Tessa went to the window in the bathroom and wrote that the bomb was not real and that there was only one gun. And so now change of plans. Now the FBI know that they can go in. You get what I'm saying? Which is crazy because when Sherry Shepherd's character, Nicole, that's what her name was, when Nicole found out that it was not real, she said, but listen, we might not want to tell them that it's not real. But by this time, Tessa had already went and wrote that on the window. So that was a done deal right there. But she was like, we might not want to tell them because the policy of the bank is as follows. Like if they know that there is an explosive on the premises, they're not going to come anywhere near until they have a whole plan on how they're going to get in here. So Nicole was trying to look out for Janaya, okay? But Tessa, her young behind was just like, I'm gonna go tell her, blah blah blah. So when she found out that they found the cop and they escorted him off the premises and all this different stuff, then she's like, okay, y'all could go. She let the two bank tellers go. She let and then Nicole was like, no, I'm going to stay here. Then also there was a touching moment in the film where, you know, Nicole and Janaya are in Nicole's office because it was kind of cold in there. And Nicole was like, well, I have a jacket in my office. If you want to, you know, put on a jacket, she puts on a jacket. She's looking, she's like, you know, uh, asking about her family. Come to find out, Nicole is married and has two daughters of her own. And she's talking, and then Janaya talks about her daughter. And then there's a reason why I bring that up because Janaya asked Nicole while they're sitting out there, if I go to jail, will you take my daughter? Will you, you know, you take my daughter? And Nicole was like, yes, I will ask my husband. I'm pretty much sure he'll say yes. And, you know, and then once you get back, you know, you know, y'all, I'm coming to the end of this movie. And it's funny because this is about the time of the movie to the movie about 1 hour 47 minutes. So pretty much there are spoilers. So if you didn't watch it yet, do not watch this last part. Turn it off right now. Bye. Bye. All right. Those who have seen it, this part broke me. This is when the two alternate endings come into play. We finally got to a point where she let the other tellers go. Nicole says, I'm going to stay with her. I'm gonna walk with her. Tells Detective Raymond it. Detective Raymond's like, okay. She goes back in there and she says to Janaya, listen, I'm gonna walk with you. And she said, will you come and visit me when I'm in jail? She said, yes. And she said, will you bring my daughter? No, she's like, no, she's like, will you come and visit me in jail? She said yes, and she's like, yes, I will come and see you, and I will bring your daughter with me to see you. And she's just smiling and everything like that. And then she's like, I'm gonna walk with you. She's like, that's crazy. I never had anybody walk with me before. And then Jania's phone rings, and it's her mom. Now earlier she said something to the effect of, I want to, she's like, she kept saying, I'm all my daughter has. I'm all my daughter has. We all we got. And she says to Nicole, um, I I I want her to go with you because, you know, she's like, no, she said, if I go to jail, she'll probably end up in foster care and everything like that because she can't be with my mom or my sister because they're crazy or whatever, right? She briefly mentions them. But then when she gets a call from her mom was like, what's up with this? Got the FBI in here, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, they said, why are you up there trying to rob their bank? And she said, Mom, I'm not trying to rob the bank. I came here to cash my check because I had to do this, I had to do that. I had to make sure that my daughter had her money for school, this and the third. And then her mom was like, she died. So I had to rewind because I was like, did she get taken by DCF? And then while she was with this DCF, she passed away. But no, y'all, no. Her daughter been gone. Her daughter passed away the night before all of this transpired. The whole time, her daughter was not there. Her daughter passed away the night before. Remember at the beginning, she's carrying her daughter in the hospital. She really wasn't carrying her daughter at all. She was just carrying the sheets. She was heartbroken. She broke. She broke mentally because her daughter passed away. When she had that seizure and she fell in the tub, she passed away. And Janiyah mentally could not deal with the fact that she pretty much put her everything into making sure her daughter had what she needed to take care of her in a seizure, and her taking a bath by herself because she wants to be a big girl. She was 8 years old. She wanted to be a big girl and bathe herself. She fell, she passed away, and it was grief, it was shock, it was guilt, it was all of those things, and it mentally broke her. Just like that. However, everything that happened during the day happened. But the thing was is that her daughter was never there. So now they rewind. Now they show that that morning when she got up and got her daughter up, she really didn't get her daughter up. Her daughter was not there. When she was at the tub, her daughter was not there. When she drove to the school, there was no child that got out of the car. That's why the lady was looking at her crazy. When she's at work and she got that phone call, it was a phone call for something else, but she mentally blocked it out and just said to her boss, something's going on at my daughter's school. I got to go to my daughter's school. But that's not who was on the phone. The school was not on the phone. But she still proceeded to go to the school as if the school called her. And when she got there, the same lady that was looking at her crazy was like, we did not call you. But they know what happened. And she said, oh, so when the whole thing with DCF and everything, that never happened. That never happened. That was in her mind the whole time. And then when she left to go back to work and the whole thing happened with the cop, that just was happenstance that happened. But I was like, yo, are you serious? I boo-hooed so hard. That's why I had to wait till today to kind of like calm down so I could do this review, because I boo-hooed so hard because I could not believe that this entire time of her trying to just get to her daughter, there was no daughter to get to because her daughter had already passed away. And then was the two alternate endings that messed me up, because outside of the building, you got the FBI being like, oh, we about to go in. We don't care anymore because there ain't no explosive and none of that. So they about to go in. And so they're trying to stop them. Like, listen, why would we do that? It's those people out here, they're gonna riot if y'all go in there and take her down. Like, we can end this peacefully. She's gonna come out. Why are y'all doing so much? Because she said, if you show me the picture of the guy, I'll let everybody go and I'll surrender. So I'm trying to figure out what was you, and I was like, what if that was them trying to cover their behinds as far as the police officer being involved? Because if she surrenders, if she comes out and she's alive to tell her story, that's going to put those two cops on the front line, on front page news, overzealous cop threatening people, this and the third, blah. Oh, it would have been a whole crazy thing. So I'm like, the first part I felt really happened where she was unalived by the police officer, and that I boo-hooed because it happened so fast. They just came in, they threw in the tear gas after she hung up with her mom, and it was just like, that was it. That was it. And then the crazy thing is, they didn't even have to pow her, because she was just standing there. Like, y'all just broke all the glass. They could have took her down. And you know, but they popped the one person powed her. Man, I know I'm saying man a lot, but you know, then it gets to the point where that happens. Nicole is sobbing, she's crying, she's getting pulled away, and then then there's alternate ending where she's just standing there, she's looking up, and Nicole's like, Janiyah, it's time to go. And she says to Nicole, like, my daughter died. And Nicole's like, I know, they told me a while ago. So she already knew that her daughter passed away and that she was dealing with somebody that had a psychotic break. So that's why she started moving. Like, she was being more compassionate because now she knows, like, this lady is trying to get back to a daughter that is already gone. But at the end of it all, the other ending is she takes Janiyah's hand and they walk out and they walk backwards. And Detective Raymond is like, walk backwards to the sound of my voice. They take and they put handcuffs on her and they put her in the back of the car, and the car takes off or whatever with her in back of it. Now, What ending would I prefer? I would prefer the second ending to the first ending. But as far as Jania's character is concerned, the character is concerned, I would rather it be the first one, because the second one, she would have to live with the fact that her daughter is gone and now she's in prison. You feel me? And that could be torture for her. So the first ending where they like took her out, I would better prefer that for her, because, you know, the one person she was living for is no longer living. So yeah. Like I said, Tyler Perry, you did the big thing. Did the big one with this. You did the big one with this. Y'all, I said spoilers. I pretty much told y'all the movie. Still, and actually this review is for those who have seen the movie already, and I'm just giving my input and my thoughts on the movie. It was beautifully done, beautiful storytelling. And like I said, a lot of people talk about, oh, Tyler Perry always want to talk about the struggle and da, 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 da. But some people just have a niche. Some people just have a formula. And y'all want all these new things from him, but y'all don't have an idea of where he can go. Y'all don't have no ideas of what he could possibly make a movie about, but y'all want him to change up his formula that's been working for him for years and years and years. There's a reason why he has a Tyler Perry Studios. It's a reason why he is a multi-millionaire. And y'all up here get mad at him because he's talking about, he's shining a light on the struggle of Black people. Well, it's the truth. It's people out there that's struggling. Hell, I'm struggling, and that's why it's relatable. Now, this was one movie where there wasn't a happy ending. Either way, wasn't a happy ending. A lot of his other movies, like Daddy's Little Girl, oh man, now everybody's standing up, everybody's taking account, everybody's doing this, and he gets his daughters and this and that. It's a happy ending. You know what I'm saying? Family That Prays. Yeah, the bad guys had the upper hand for most of the movie, but at the end, the good guys prevailed. Okay, yeah. But this was the one movie where it was a good person all the way throughout. And just was not a good ending. For Color Girls was another one that, Precious was another. It was other movies that had such good endings, but at least the people didn't. And for Color Girls, it was the two kids that passed away. But y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all, like, stop being so hard on Tyler Perry about the subject matter that he covers, because everybody has their niche and everybody covers different things. And if you want something else to be covered, you be a director, a producer, and be a screenwriter, and you do it yourself. And stop being so hard on somebody who's actually out here doing it, that got the funds to do it, didn't have to wait for nobody, did the movie in 4 days, and is about to have one of the #1 movies on Netflix. So that's not me being a D-eater or D-writer. None of that. Is just telling the truth, because y'all need to hear it. Y'all need to stop being so Tyler Perry always talk about like y'all so catty, and y'all don't have no ideas in y'all own brains yourselves. Y'all not doing anything with yourselves. Y'all not creating anything. I'm a content creator. Okay, I create content on a regular. It is hard, but when you find something that works and that sticks, you want to keep doing that, right? And so for y'all to just don't watch his movies. Don't watch it. Don't. I don't know what to tell you. But if you watched it, you just gave him a view. Y'all just gave him some play. And don't be mad. Because it's okay to say the movie was not, like, your opinions are opinions, right? And then you say, man, I really didn't like the movie. But don't be on some stuff like Tyler Perry need to change what he be talking about because he always talk about this, that, and the third. No, you just didn't like the movie. So watch another movie. That's all I got to say about that. But I enjoyed it. 10 out of 10 for me. Cast was amazing. Shout out to the cast. They did the big thing, the big one on this one. They all brought their A game. And to know that they did it in 4 days has me absolutely like, y'all got that. Y'all did that. But that's all I got for y'all tonight. When I do these reviews, they a little long, but I get to say everything I need to say about the movie. Oh, and another thing before I go. She kept saying nobody had her back and everything like that. She ain't had nobody. And I kind of felt bad for the lady that worked with her in the store because she was the only one that was willing to give her some type of money to help her out. But she never said that the lady like helped her. Yeah, that was a little crazy. And again, where did those people come from in the bank? That was weird. But that's it. Love you guys. Y'all take care. Hope you got a lot of value out of what I've shown you tonight. And as always, have a great week. And I'll see y'all all the next time I do one of these reviews. Okay? Bye.
But the secret is you got to coordinate. Most people don't coordinate. See, you got to coordinate.
Say hello to America's new favorite game show, Think Different TV's Play or Pass. Get ready to experience trivia like never before. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you play the game. Join our charismatic host Bubbles every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the most exhilarating trivia battles on television. As we wrap up our incredible first season, we're gearing up for an even more exciting season 2 in 2025. We're looking for sharp minds and strategic thinkers to join us for one-on-one duels, thrilling team battles, and high-energy tournaments for high school and college students. Think you've got what it takes to outsmart the competition? Prove it! Become a contestant by calling 267-225-1824 or emailing LaShiaStar2@gmail.com. Think Different TV, live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hosted by me, your girl LaShia. Join me as I discuss social topics, spotlight independent artists, and share financial tips. Join the conversation. I want to hear what you have to say. Think Different TV, where minds meet. You're the reason I